All right, Mel. One thing that we wanted to touch on was, and I'm terrible. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but I'm a huge Schiff fan, and I
Yep.
know that you had Josh. How do you say his last name?
I believe it's Loucka. I always said Loucka, but
Yeah.
then when he was on Toby Morse's podcast recently, they said Loucka. So I'm like, oh, that must be it. They would know better than me. So yeah, so Josh Loucka.
Yeah. Well, I just big, huge Schiff fan. Even love the major label release too.
Yeah, me too.
Um, and sadly, though, I know he's continued to make a lot of music. I haven't like kept up as much as I probably should have. Sorry, Josh, because we met a few times. But so, how does he figure in? Because I know that like his contribution to this, and I think you've used him in other stuff, or no?
Yeah, he scored Mystery Spot, so he scored my previous movie and then this one.
Okay.
Yeah, and it basically it was the same. Like again, a big Shift fan. I discovered them through the same scene. Like Quicksand kind of led me to them, in that New York scene, or into it. It might have been into another or both because Richie produced that first album for
Oh
them or
yeah.
whatever.
Which
So
is a
some
great album. Space
yes, yeah,
is
yeah,
like, and the thing is, like, the chances that they took on that, like
yeah,
that song at the end, Self Same, I believe it was
yeah,
called.
yeah,
I remember just listening to that and being like, man, like that's a bold song to
for
make at
sure.
that
Yeah, yeah.
time.
And
So
that's
yeah,
yeah. Especially with some of the other songs on there where people be like, "Oh yeah," and then you get to
totally.
that and you're like, oh, "Okay, right turn." But yeah, it's really spoke to me too. Like I was like, "This is my shit," So I'd always been a fan of theirs. I don't think I ever had the chance to see them in the
Really?
back in the day because I don't remember if they ever made it down here. I talked to Josh about it and we were trying to figure it out, but
Because they
I
came to
did.
California. I mean, that's the thing is like
Yeah,
I was able to see them. Like they played Coos Cafe, which was like
yeah,
in
right.
Santa Ana, very, very, very close. But they were just one of those bands that they were so good. And I mean, him on guitar, the bass player, and then Samantha
Yeah.
on drums. I mean, just
Monster
amazing.
drummer. Yeah.
Oh my god, a
Yeah.
beast, a
Yeah.
beast.
Yeah. And so I was a fan of Shift, and then I kind of followed them, and then I knew they had the same story where it's like they were on a major label and then they kind of broke up as a result of that or right after. But I kept my eye or my ear to the ground to find out what they were all doing next. And at the time, I was actually writing music reviews for a zine down here called Space City Rock, and we got from the Militia Group, we got the review copy of Big Collapse, their first album,
Mm.
which is his band after Shift with
Yeah.
with the guy. It's got Gavin from Burn and um, oh god, Kyle Stevenson, who's in Helmet now. But as when I heard that, I was like, shit, this was awesome too, because it's like it literally is like Helmet meets Def Leppard, So it's like some of my favorite shit together. So I was like, man, I gotta make sure to watch out for what this guy does. And I think I tried to find him online to just kind of follow his page or whatever. And I found it weirdly enough. I found his page on LinkedIn, and it said that he was a composer. So, and I looked it up, and he had composed the music for a lot of commercials, stuff that I had seen too.
Mm.
But I was like, okay, I got to remember that because this guy's a composer. I wonder if he'd be into composing music for films. So, fast forward to when we did Mystery Spot, and I knew that I wanted something kind of guitar leaning for that, or somebody with that kind of mindset, because in my head, I was temping it with like stuff like Mogwai or Mono, that kind of like post rock guitar-y stuff, right? Just in my head.
Mm.
And so I remember Josh, and I reached out and I was like, man, I wonder if he'd be into it. And we met up. We met at a cafe in Pasadena. I happened to be out there for something, pre-production or something. Hit it off and went from there. And it was, I mean, the music he gave me for the movie was amazing. I love it. It's like it was perfect. It was a very stress-free kind of working relationship, he and I, because I didn't really I wasn't very hands-on. I was just like, I trust you. give me something cool, and it would come back like almost exactly what I had been thinking, weirdly, because with composers and stuff like that, I never want to tell them too much, because I feel like I put too much, I restrict them in a way, you know what I mean?
Right.
Instead of just like, this is what you do, you go after it and see what you come up with, because 9 times out of 10 it'll be something I'd never had imagined, but is super awesome. So, and it was the same thing here, even though it was within the context of what I wanted. Certain things I'm like, oh, I never would have thought of doing that kind of thing or whatever, and it worked so well. And I just, when In-Betweening came around, I reached out to him again. I mean, we stayed in touch. We, became friends. And so when In-Betweening came around, I told him, I was like, hey man, if you'd be into it, we've got much less money for this, and it's a grant funded movie, but if you'd be into it, I'd love to have you. And he was. I mean, it was just a situation of, we had to kind of work around his paying gigs, because he still does a lot of big commercial work. Like, I think he composed music for a Super Bowl commercial that year and a few other big campaigns. But it was fine because we had all that animation and stuff. So it's like we had a protracted post-production that allowed for that. So